I'm going to be cooking some delicious grass-fed Maleny Black Angus beef from malenyblackangus.beef.com.au. This morning we're going to cook Osso Bucco, two nice thick leg steaks. We've got some onions, we've got some diced potato, we've got some carrot. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by looking at the seasonings and the ingredients that we can use with beef. So first of all varieties of tomato. We've got tomato passata. It's quite wet, it's like a sauce, sieved tomato. We've got tomato paste, it's thick. We're going to use that to thicken the sauce at the end. And we also have cans of diced chopped tomatoes. Now all of these ingredients are relatively cheap. We're also going to have obviously salt and pepper. I use the pink rock salt because there's no bleaches added. It's more of a natural salt. We're going to use garlic. We're going to use maybe ginger. Ginger and beef is a classic combination. And we're going to use some fresh herb. We've got some oregano, which is dried herb, but in the garden we've got rosemary, thyme, and we've got sage. Now just remember, if you're using a fresh herb, you're going to need twice as much as dried herb. Dried herb is quite concentrated flavours. So we're going to leave those there for now. I'll also be using smoked paprika. Now you can use any type of paprika. You can also put in some chilies if you like chilies. An inch thick. Maleny Black Angus beef as a standard for steak and for Osso Bucco, 1 inch thick. And that makes sure that it holds together, it cooks out evenly, and we're just going to leave the skin and everything in place. In here we've got delicious marrow bone that should cook out, and that will go into the sauce and make the sauce super tasty. And Osso Bucco literally means hole in the bone, and when we come out and it's cooked, we should have a hole in the bone right the way through. All that will cook into the sauce, and the meat, you should be able to cut it with a spoon. Okay, so Osso Bucco. So we'll start the same way. Classic Osso Bucco, we're going to have olive oil. And it's an Italian dish, so we'll put a little bit extra in. Okay, we're going to need garlic. This time, ginger is not an Italian spice. So we're going to put our onions in first. And we're going to season that with salt and pepper. Now we all use salt and pepper. We can use chili and soy, we can use chilies and salt, we can use soy and pepper. It's a universal flavour combination. It's called basic seasoning. And for the Osso Bucco we're going to do nothing out of the ordinary. It's going to be a classic Osso Bucco. So we're going to use wonderful big pieces of Osso Bucco. I'm going to brown the onions a little bit. I'm going to use garlic. I'm using minced garlic. It's easy. If you've got fresh garlic, just crush a clove, chop it up and just throw it in. So a nice big spoon of garlic. Again, if you don't like garlic, leave it out. You might want to put some more herbs in. There's flavours that you will have in your pantry or store cupboard that will be your favourites, and you can use basically any rich, savoury, aromatic spice combination you like. The important thing is just to look at the process. So we're just going to get that started. Okay, so some delicious Osso Bucco. I'm going to season again. Pepper. Pink rock salt. And I'm going to put this in the pan around the onions. Now, slightly different process in that I'm cooking the onions in with the meat. I'll just take this away. And we're going to leave that sit. Now these are nice and thick. What you'll find is, if you have Osso Bucco that's thinner, it will start curling and it may not cook evenly. With these nice big thick pieces, we should keep that nice thick, flat appearance on the meat. So we've got to just let it set. It's on full blast. We've got to, again, develop some colour. This is not about sealing in moisture. This is about developing colour and flavour on the meat and in the pan. Okay, so while we're at this stage, remember we used fennel seeds for the beef cheeks. Not this time. This time we're going to use some classic Italian passata, and we're going to use that instead of diced tomato. So we'll probably use about half of this, and we're also, again, going to use red wine. I know that some people will laugh when I talk about leftover red wine, but leftover red wine is fantastic for cooking. We don't tend to have too many, so I have to open a new bottle. So we'll just have a look at this. We'll just turn it over, and you'll see the colour change. Look at the brown starting around there, and we've just got to make sure that we can. That's a much better colour there, you see, on the meat. We need to develop that colour all over. You'll see it starting to buckle, but hopefully it's so thick it won't go too far. If it does, what we can do is just with a knife, just cut through the edge, and that will stop it from turning into a sausage roll. Okay, so that's just released that edge, which means it should remain flat, and I'll do the same one here. And hopefully that will cover all eventualities. So we're just going to let that sit and brown, make sure the onions don't burn, and we're also then going to add our other vegetables. These vegetables, it doesn't really matter when we add them because they're going to be cooked over 6 hours. I like to get them in so the pan is pretty full, and then they'll absorb some flavour from the wine when we put it in. If you would prefer, and you don't particularly like red wine, you can use white wine, you can use rosé wine, you can use a bourbon braise, you can use spirits. Obviously, things like Bundy rum, which has got a very, very strong flavour, would not really suit this dish. But in there we've got salt, pepper, garlic. We're going to put some tomato passata before we put it into our slow cooking dish. And we're also going to use probably the rest of this bottle of red wine. So there's probably about 2/3 of a bottle of red wine there. You can use beef stock. Red wine is expensive. You want to keep the cost down. Beef stock, you can make it from beef bones, also available from Maleny black Angus beef. But also you can buy relatively cheap stock cubes or cartons of stock, which will give you just the same rich flavour at the end. And as I say, passata is very cheap. So let's just have a look how the underside of this is going. There's a nice brown colour, and we'll look at this one, and that one's also starting to brown. You'll see just here. So we need to develop that flavour, we need to develop the colour, and then we're going to add our liquids to the pan. So when we add the liquids to the pan, we'll cook it for a while, turn the beef over, and then we'll take the beef out and put it onto this raised rack. If you don't have that, then just make sure some of your vegetables are underneath the meat in the slow cooker. It helps if the meat is suspended in the middle of the liquid. Okay, so I think we've got the flavours going. I think the brown is coming nicely. And we can go as light or dark on the searing as we want to. But once again, this is absolutely fantastic. You see the colour there. So I'm going to get this into the cooker. So first of all, once again, we deglaze with the red wine. So I'm going to put the best part of 2/3 of a bottle of red wine in this. And again, when I say don't use it for cooking unless you drink with it, of course that's just me being a chef. You can use whatever cheap wine you can get hold of. Cask wine is fine. What we're really looking to do is introduce some acidity and obviously some flavour and some colour. And we'll just let that one cook out a little bit. And then I'm going to put the passata into that dish. So, passata is now open. We're just going to let that bubble through. As I said before, what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over so we get that beef soaked nicely into that fresh red wine. And again, if you look at the size of these, I think one of these would comfortably feed 2 people or a family of 4. They're very meaty. They're about 500 grams each. And again, you'll see already, it's very interesting already because of the quality and tenderness of the meat. You can already see this marrow bone starting to melt, and that is going to give our sauce the most fantastic flavour, and it will also give us a wonderful shine. And it's not greasy, it's a very shiny, good quality sauce. So that's now braising in the garlic, the salt, the pepper. We can add herbs to this, traditionally thyme. So again, I'll probably drop a bunch of thyme on top of the braising liquor when it's finished. You'll see it's now bubbling, and you'll start seeing the Osso Bucco take on the colour of the red wine. That's a traditional look. It should look purple. Okay, now remember at the end we can adjust the seasoning in the sauce. At the moment it's just a braising liquor. So I'm just going to lift the beef out, and I'm going to put it side by side in the bottom of my slow cooker. You can have them slightly overlapping, don't get too stressed. If you've got a smaller slow cooker, you'll see they fit nicely side by side, and they're raised off the bottom with a trivet. And I'm going to now add my passata. Whoop, it's a little bit runny, there we go. Into the dish. Now you see that lovely purple colour from the red wine, and now we've got a tomato based sauce. This is the braising stock. When it's cooked out, we may need just to thicken it with a little bit of tomato paste, but I'll show you how to finish the sauce later. Okay, so I'll put this just here, and we're going to put all of that braising liquor over the Osso Bucco. Now with the veggies and all of that braising liquor, we should be able to cover the meat, and if we can't, of course, we can add a little bit of water. And I'm just going to put the lid on it, and once again we can make this the night before, or we can put it on and go to work. That's it. Okay, so the Osso Bucco now is finished. We've just tested the edge and it's cooked. It's been in here for about 7 hours. Now because this is very thick, you see the bone now is, the meat's coming away from the bone. We're just going to take that out, and we're going to remove the herb because those twiggy bits of thyme can be a little bit tough. So we're just going to take those away, and we're just going to set these out, and I'll show you what we're going to do with the sauce. So the sauce now on this one is going to be different. Osso Bucco, you can see Osso Bucco means hole in the bone. You can see now that's pronounced, and it's opened up. So we're just going to take these bunches of thyme stalks out. We're going to blend this sauce. On the last one we left it natural. On this one we're going to add some tomato paste, and that helps to thicken. Probably need all of this, there's a lot of sauce here. And then we're going to blend all the vegetables and the Osso Bucco sauce and the tomato paste until it's smooth. We can return it to the heat in a saucepan or a frying pan, and we can continue to reduce to the texture desired. So you just watch now and it'll just go smooth. Sorry about the noise. Okay, so what we normally would do to serve the Osso Bucco would be to place it either onto mashed potato or directly onto a plate. We're going to sauce the plate and put some over the top of the Osso Bucco. Again, if we've got mashed potato, which is traditional, we can use horseradish mash, very nice, mustard mash, garlic mash, and obviously we can serve that